Hello, fellow preppers. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Oh, a couple of weekends ago, it's a Saturday, I went to the Basic Disaster Life Support class. It was an all-day class on a Saturday, sponsored by the National Disaster Life Support Foundation. Now, it was a really good class. Really good. And the price was right, free. And if you look down below, I will have in the description the link where you can see where the closest one is for you to participate. And I still have to take the final test. It's been busy, I haven't had a chance to. Maybe I'll take it later today. But then I'll get a certificate that shows that I successfully completed the class. It was real interesting because they gave a definition of disaster, one I wasn't aware of. So before I give it to you, I want you to ponder for a second or two, what is a disaster? How and when does something become a disaster? Okay, are you ready for the answer? A disaster is when the needs are greater than the resources. Think about that for a second. Disaster. Needs greater than the resources. So for example, let's just say there's an accident. A couple people are bleeding, but you only have enough medical supplies to treat one person. You've got a disaster. I know that might sound funny because you're only talking 2 people, but let's say you've got 20 people, but you only have the supplies to help 10. That's a disaster. And as you ramp the numbers up, if you've got 2,000 people hurt, injured, you've only got the supplies to help 1,000 and the resources to help 1,000, you got a disaster. You're going to have to call in for support. And that puts a whole different perspective on disaster. At least it did for me. Because now what you can do is, or what I can do, I can look at the resources in my area. How many hospital beds? How many fire trucks? How many ambulances? How many doctors? How many nurses? How many EMTs? And I can do a rough calculation and saying, okay, if something were to happen and the level of injury is above a certain point, then it's a disaster here. And this is what they're training. In fact, the people that take this course are usually physicians, nurses, EMTs. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time to hear about it, and I signed up. I was basically the only non-medical person in the room. They gave another interesting definition. Survival. We all think about survival in probably different ways. As far as the media goes, we're all Rambo types. You know, wearing camo, knives, and guns, popping out of bunkers. Other people think of survival as having a supply of food, water, equipment, other supplies, that when the grid goes down or the ground shakes or there's extreme temperature change, that they can get through it. But you see, the key to survival is basically 2 things here. Survival is warning and shelter. Think about it. If you get enough warning, how that improves your chance of survival. And after the disaster hits, the event hits, you're going to need shelter. Because you're going to need to keep your core temperature within 5 degrees of 98.6. But those two things, warning and shelter. So I hope you go to the website, and I really hope you live close enough where you can take one of these, the basic disaster life support class. This is version 3.0. It's a really good book, and like I said, the material's free, the class is free. Now they have the advanced, but you have to be a medical professional, because in the advanced class you actually put on a level 1 suit or level A suit, and you actually go into a biohazard area. So I guess they just don't want regular people messing with that kind of stuff. I really wish I could take it though. It's a 2-day class. This was pretty much a 1-day 8-hour class, and they even gave you lunch. So I highly recommend it. And like I said, I need to get in there. I think I've got another week or 2 left. Otherwise it expires. I need to go in and take the exam so I can print off my certificate. So once again, fellow preppers, if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail.